Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello everyone and welcome back after a few weeks break to the iRacing Israel League. We're here today with Season 11 Round 3 here at the Nordschleife, and well, this track always seems to provide entertainment wherever you go. Whatever series you run, it's always chaotic, unpredictable, and sometimes a little bit weird. But just for today, it's just me in the commentary booth and Louise Arroyo in the production booth. And well, this isn't going to be easy for drivers or me for this next two races that we have lined up for you here in today's race. But nevertheless, we're going to head straight to the grid as qualifying is over and done with. And it was a pretty dominant performance by Alan Day in qualifying, 2 seconds ahead of his nearest rival, Michelem, in second place. Then we have Nadav Yaron, Rim Gross, Tal Stern, Yossi Gabay, Arthur Albert, Arnon Levi, Dor last. Ben Yosef rounds out your top 10. And then the other drivers on the grid didn't really set competitive lap times, and some of them didn't even set a lap time at all. We have Amir Hesed in 11th, Aidan Sher in 12th place. Then in 13th, we've got Sharon Kana. 14th, we have Oran Sadaya. 15th, we have Really Tazur. 16th, Michael Simon. 17th, we have Tyson Baba. 18th, Bertie Galili. 19th, Benny Sorek. 20th, Mark Zubarev. And in 21st place, we have Dedi Diag. That rounds out your 21 car grid here today. And like I said, qualifying and practice have both been fairly strange, to say the least, with a varying mix of lap times. And it's not surprising at all to see Alan Day at the top of the timing sheets. But after a fairly disappointing first few rounds, he's surely going to be hoping to climb back up into those top standings where, let's be honest, he reasonably should be. But in round one, got caught up in lapped traffic. And in round two, same thing. Road America just got really unlucky. Was leading the race by, I think, around 3 or 4 seconds. And he just got incredibly unlucky with the back marker spearing along the track and unfortunately into his car. But we'll see what the number 42 can do here today. Hopefully he shouldn't have too much trouble with lap traffic, as the Nordschleife, typically you don't get too much lap traffic, especially in these kinds of races where we've only got 3 laps here. And we shouldn't really have any lap traffic for any of these drivers. But, as I said in the intro, it's unpredictable here. You just never know what's going to happen. And we don't know, the drivers don't know. And but that's the best part about motorsport. Anything can happen, and you never know. We might get no finishes in this race. it's unpredictable. You just never know. But here we go, and Alan Day's already gone. He's got the jump on everyone as they all come single file around the final corner, and into the first corner we go. Alan Day's got this start down to a T. He leads already by 0.8 of a second from Michelin behind. And we've already got some action as the 777 trying to defend his second place already. And Yaron and Gross both on the attack for that second place. And I think this is going to be the battle to watch here for third places. These guys were actually pretty close in qualifying. But through this first sector, gaps already starting to form, especially in that lead. 9/10 now is his lead. I think we've had an incident in the back. Scher is falling down the order, but has managed to settle himself back onto the track. But yeah, there's already a big gap forming in some of the parts of the track. We've got 10th and 11th separated by nearly 4 seconds, and we've got 8th and 9th separated by 1.5. So yeah, this is going to be a rather interesting race over these next few laps, but there's a battle going on further down the grid. I think we've had some kind of incident up. Yesterday is off the track. He's had an incident. We've got an overtake for third place. It's all happening on this first lap. And today, as you can see there, he's pulled off to the side of the track. I wonder if he didn't look like his car had any sort of damage there. So I wonder if maybe he just had a fuel problem and just forgot to put the right amount of fuel in. Or maybe he did have contacts and he just didn't get the chance to see. But Gross has gotten ahead of Yaron for third place. And like I said, I think this is going to be the big battle to watch for the rest of the race, as you got some cars behind which are already separated by about 3/10. And it's not easy to overtake around here. I'm pretty sure everyone and their mum knows that. There's only a few real overtaking opportunities, but I guess you could say it's fairly easy to make a mistake around here, so overtakes can sort of happen anywhere. The track is usually wide enough to go side by side, but not much more than that. And as we head through this first part of the track, fairly famous, this first part, as most people sort of do this first part of the track and then end up binning it, so they don't get to see the other half of the Nordschleife. But yeah, I think these drivers are already starting to struggle, as, like I said, just big gaps forming already, as you can see, from 7th all the way down to 12th. It's pretty... a big difference in driver standards, you could say. Some drivers faring, oh, we got a big spinner. Is that going to be contact? It is. And that is huge contact. That's Hased, who is now out of this race. He's had some big contact. And the driver ahead, Michael Simon, also got caught up in that. He's pulling off to the side. He's probably going to retire from this race. We're going to have a look at what's actually happened. I think he just got some understeer on the exit here. The 959 not faring too well. Yeah, just a little bit too much understeer, and then just collects Michael Simon. Unfortunate incident for them both, but that's put into their first race, and they have another race to try and come back at it. But we've already got 3 retirements so far. It's unlikely that we'll see them return to this race, as it's pretty difficult to get back up there in the standings around this circuit, especially when it's such a short race. You know, if you're doing the 24 hours of Nordschleife, you might be able to have a pretty good comeback, but, you know, in these kinds of races, it's not as likely. But we've got Connor making an overtake on last for 10th place. That was a pretty textbook overtake, and he's already around 0.6 of a second ahead, so wonder if last might have some kind of damage to his cars. He looked pretty weak on the straights there. And yeah, he's starting to pull away, and he's got 3 seconds to catch up to Ben Youssef in 9th. So he's got a bit of a task on his hands, but it's possible. He's got the time to do it, and a lot of time indeed. And you know, anything can happen in this track. And I mean, we've already seen some weird and wacky things happen in this opening half a lap here at the Nordschleife, and like I've said, you just don't know. As I think Scher's really struggling. He's not looking too feisty there. Also backing off. Excuse me. I wonder what these guys are up to. Scher taking the not ideal line through the carousel, but It seems like these guys are reluctant to overtake each other, and Sherb finally gets past, and not quite sure what was happening there. As Sher going off the track, it was Sorg who got past. My apologies. And yeah, that's Diag nearly having his own separate incident behind. He did well to keep that one on the track, but yeah, not 100% sure what was going on there between those guys, but eventually getting past, and that is not the ideal line. Ben Youssef, as I was saying, kind of, he was 3 seconds behind. It's going to be a bit of a task for him to get past, but look at this. He's already having a go down the dip we go, and he's already ahead up into 9th place. He's having a cracker of a race. He's up 4 places right now, and I don't think that's going to be the last overtake we're going to see from him this race. And dip. Oh, bless me. Yeah, this is the bad thing about commentating by yourself, is I don't have time to sneeze. As Michelin actually has had an incident further up. He's all the way down to 4th. That's just before we get onto the long straight. I think he might have had some kind of incident at the second carousel. I think he might have just bounced off of it and possibly speared off. And I don't think he's hit the wall. His car looks fine from what I can see. But that's getting pretty feisty. This is an interesting battle all the way down this straight for 4th place. And this is the thing with this straight, is especially in these lower Formula cars, you are just sitting behind constantly, just waiting for the end of the straight. As you can see in the background, Levi going for an overtake on Elbert as well. It's going to be an interesting battle to watch as we watch this one up ahead. But we're possibly going to see a 3 wide into these final few corners, as Michelin seems to be quite under a lot of pressure from Stern. And Stern has got the ideal line going into these corners. He's already pulled out ahead, and yeah, Michelin smartly decides to back out of this one and settles for 5th place at the moment. And I wonder if we'll be able to see what actually did happen to him. But we finished the first lap then. Alan Day still in the lead, 3 seconds, and Gross is holding on fairly well. I would have expected Alan Day to have a bit more of a gap up at the top, but he's still in the lead. I mean, you can't take that away from the man, can you? He's putting in a superb performance so far, and I nearly jinxed him. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about people having good performances, because I nearly just jinxed him into crashing into the wall. And I think Mechelem's had another incident as well, as we just cut away to a replay as what actually happened a few corners ago. And the car looks a little bit unsettled going through here, and on the exits, oh dear, that's not the way to do it. And yeah, just got on the power a little bit too early, understeered towards the outside of the carousel, and it just booted him into a wall. But this is what happened just before we cut to the replay, and looking fairly okay at the moment. A bit of a sharp line going into there, and yeah, just a bit. He did well to keep that on, I'll be honest. Good job, good car control from the 77.7. But yeah, he's had a fair few mistakes in this race, and he's gone from 2nd to 7th, but still in the lead of the AMS at the moment. So can't be too disappointed with that, but I think he'd rather be in 2nd place overall. But nevertheless, we've got a little bit of a battle brewing up for 5th place between Gabay and Levi. Levi, of course, overtook Elbert just a few minutes ago up into 7th place, and then Michelin made that mistake and promoted him up into 6th. He's up a few places from where he started, up 2 right now. Not a bad start at all. I think Gross has had a little bit of an off some ways. It's like 3/10, but he managed to get back onto the track perfectly fine. Levi, he's not lost a bit of time in this these last few corners, and you can see Michelin gaining on him ever so. But like I said, this part of the track, there's not too many overtaking opportunities really, and I think you just kind of have to wait for your opponent to make a big mistake. But it's as long as you just keep it on the track, it's fairly unlikely that your opponent will be able to get past. And we mistakes. Talking about mistakes, Michelin made a pretty big one there and lost about 0.8 of a second. Excuse me. And yeah, if I'm sniffing a lot during this broadcast, I do apologise. Hay fever is taking over. Hay fever sucks. If anyone watching has hay fever right now during this spring part of the year here in the UK, it's not an easy life at all. You know, I can't really keep my window open. I probably should have shut my window actually before I started this broadcast. But yeah, that's probably why I sound terrible at the moment, and I do apologise for that. But yeah, this is kind of the Nordschleife in a nutshell. You know, you get a few battles here and there, a few mistakes that some drivers make, and big gaps forming. As speaking of mistakes, I think Sir further down, the number 36, has made a mistake and has lost a place to Diag. He was on a bit of a charge through the field, but had a pretty poor start and then gained up a few places. But here is what happened to the number 36. Everything looks okay now. Coming into this heavy braking zone, it looks a little bit out of place, and I think he should have backed out of that one earlier. I just think he was a bit too committed. Probably should have seen that one coming. It's like his car just didn't want to stop at all. He didn't even lock up that much. But I think he's made another mistake somewhere. So is Scher. I think Sir's actually pulled over, and yeah, Scher. I think there might have been contact between two of them, as Sir's pulled into the pits, and Scher there has also pulled off to the side. We're gonna get a little bit of a replay. Number 36 is in front. You can see. I think he's struggling ever. Oh, they both just made the same mistake. Too much speed into there, and yeah, unfortunate for them both. I think Scher maybe just following a bit too closely to Sir up ahead, and they both made the same mistake. It's happened to the best of us. And Elbert has also made a mistake. We're seeing quite a few mistakes this lap, actually. And yeah, Elbert is losing a butt ton of time right now. He's lost about 5 seconds. And he's still losing time. He's still on the grass. Come on, chap. Get back on the... Oh, dear. That's damage, yeah. Big damage to his suspension. He's... I wonder if he's taken too much speed into a corner. He needs to pull that car over. Oh, my word. That was very close to... I think that was Ben Youssef who went past, and he very, very nearly ran into... And it would be a smart idea to come into the pits or tow. He just has to be careful, but... Here we go. This is the most difficult part of the track to get right. Everything looks all right now. I think into this corner. Ooh, very, very wide onto the grass. And yeah, just slams straight into the wall. Unfortunate for him. He was having a fairly good race. I think he was up there in 6th place, actually. So rather unfortunate for him. But yeah, again, this lap we've seen plenty of mistakes, and he's still not actually towed back, so... Towing on this track does lose you a ton of time, but it is the safest way to do so, but I just hope he doesn't make anyone else's race terrible, as he nearly ran into a few cars there. As I think Ben Youssef also, while we were watching that replay, has made a mistake. He's lost 3 places, I think, since we last looked at him. Well, here's the battle for 5th place. Levi has been gaining on Gabay this whole lap and hasn't really had an opportunity. And here's the 777, hopefully going to be looking for an opportunity to go past. Is he going to make it 3 wide? I don't think Gabay has the speed to make it 3 wide. It's awfully close between these guys. They are actually going 3 wide now. This is going to be touch and go. Oh, it's twitchy, and they've all made contact. And I could kind of see that one coming. That's what happens when you go 3 wide, and... I think Gabay there was just being a bit too twitchy in the middle. And we're going to get a replay of this incident. You got the 39 on the left, and actually it was the 39 who were moved over, and that's on Levi, who just moved over a tiny bit on Gabay and just ended up making contact with him, and that's put all of their races pretty much to an end, as I think they've all come into the pits now, apart from Gabay, who I think's managed to escape without any significant damage. And I don't actually think he's lost any places overall there, so actually he's had a pretty good time there. But of course you do have a fast repair in this race. I think that's why some people actually are preferably going into the pits instead of towing. So Levi has come back out in 10th, which obviously he'd like to be up there where he was, I think, in 5th. But, you know, it's better than towing, which Meshalem did, and he's down in 15th. So I think Meshalem, who I believe is on the most points out of anyone, you know, he's AM as well. So pretty incredible from him. But yeah, that's what happens if you can tow. You do lose a lot more time. But I mean, if the damage is so extensive, you do kind of need to come and tow. But here's an overtake for 10th place, and that's getting awfully close. They need to keep this clean. And Levi getting extremely close there. Ben Youssef defending this one hard for 9th place. And that was a bit too close for comfort there. I didn't even mention we're on white flag. This is going to be the last lap of this race. And here goes Levi again on Ben Youssef. Let's hope they can keep it clean. I think Ben Youssef has actually made an error there. He's spun round. I wonder if he's hit the wall there. I think he just tried to leave Levi a little bit too much room and ended up, well, giving him way too much room and didn't give himself any. Here we go then. Yeah, you can see Ben Youssef leaving him plenty of room. And on the outside, yeah, just kind of got onto the dirty part of the track and just didn't have the grip to go around the outside. And unfortunate, made a mistake. I don't think he's picked up too much damage. He can continue. But he's fallen down to 10th place now. He's made a fair few mistakes in this race, as has quite a few people actually. But I mean, it's the Nordschleife. This is what it does to drivers. But we've not really got any close battles right now. It's just Alan Day, who's had a pretty flawless race, apart from when I nearly killed him by commentating, cursing him. And I say that, Galili's just caught right back up to Ben Youssef. I do think Ben has got some kind of damage, which is why it's allowed Galili to catch right back up. I'm not 100% sure. I can't see anything visual, so it might be suspension that's halting his pace. But yeah, I think the top guys, more or less in the top 5 at the moment, excuse me, have had a pretty easy day. Not really making too many mistakes and just benefiting from other people either crashing into each other or just not having the pace to match the top 5. But Daeg also has made some kind of mistake down in 15th place. But yeah, just a little bit of a spin. I think he'll be all right. He hasn't seemed to have lost any places as the closest man to him on track is Elbert in front of him by 20 seconds. And then in 16th, 1 minute and 47 seconds behind. So yeah, I think he's going to be fairly okay for now. It's the last lap. He can take it fairly easy. And doesn't have to worry too much about losing any positions. But he's up 6, to be fair, from starting down in, I think it was last in 21st. So he's had an okay race. I don't think he has the confidence really to push this car around here, which you can't really blame the man. It's a complex track and it's really, really challenging, especially in these higher downforce USF cars. So I'd say up 6 places isn't too bad. He just kept his nose fairly clean and has benefited from other people's mistakes. So, you know, fair play to the man. Let's hope he can finish the race where he is. And yeah, you can see he's taking it easy as Sadaya has caught him 10 seconds in that last sector. But yeah, to catch someone 1.5 minutes in 1 lap, even around here, is a bit of an ask, just a tiny bit. But it's really gone the way of Alan Day. I didn't even mean to make that rhyme. It just worked really well. But yeah, he's had a superb race so far, and yeah, he's been fairly unrivaled this race. And we know how good he is. And yeah, he rather has been deserving of leading the championship, but has just been rather unlucky in the opening 2 rounds. He's only got a few corners to go, technically. As, of course, that long back straight, which seemingly goes on forever. I don't know if anyone has driven around here in Formula V cars, but I remember when they first released that car, yeah, going down this back straight was interesting, to say the least, in that car. It was not easy. You kind of just sat there for what seemed like years waiting to get to the end. But in these USF 2000 cars, it's not as big of a pain. Yeah, it's still a little bit, but you know, Alan Day's got no one around him. He can just sit back, kick back, and relax for these final few corners of this race, as he hopefully, if I haven't jinxed him yet, will be today's Heat 1 victor, but further behind in second place. I think Gross has not had the best end to this lap, as he's lost quite a big chunk of time, but on this straight, I think he's just outside of the slipstream of Euron behind, so he should be fine as long as he can bring it home around these final few corners. Yeah, he's looking fairly fine at the moment. And yeah, Euron in third. He's going to finish where he started, but Alan Day is also going to finish where he started. Pole to victory, led every lap, gets fastest lap. Alan Day takes the victory in Heat 1, unsurprisingly, 11 seconds ahead of Gross behind. And Gross had a fairly good race as well. He's up a few places. Euron finishes in third from where he started. Tel Stern finishes in fourth place, and Connor behind, up 8 places from 13th. He's had a superb race. And to do that round here, yeah, he's benefited from other people's mistakes, but you have to be there. Gabay comes home in 6th. I think he'll be fairly happy after nearly dying a lap ago, coming down that back straight. Last finishes in 7th place. The number 55 had a fairly good race, and Zubrev as well has gone fairly unnoticed in this race, up 12 places. And again, to do that round here is incredibly impressive. And yeah, he will be starting, I believe, in 3rd place for the feature race, and he'll be fairly happy. We have an inverted top 10, so Alan Day has got a bit of work on his hands to get back into 1st place, and hopefully he can have a bit more luck than he has done over the past few races. But Meshalem comes home 13th place, rather disappointing for him. He could have finished this race in 2nd, but just too many mistakes, and of course getting caught up in that unfortunate incident last lap with Gabay and Levi for 5th place. Just rather spoilt the rest of his race. But just waiting for the final few cars to cross the line. We're going to be here for probably another few minutes. Got Diag, who's 50 seconds behind, and then Sadaya, who's another minute behind. And yeah, you get the idea. As yeah, it's been a rather poor race for our bottom 5, but Diag, yeah, just stayed out of trouble, and not really put too much of a foot wrong. But everyone else behind him has made too many mistakes, or either crashed out of this race. And yeah, it's not easy track, this one. I think everyone in the motorsport community knows that this track is rather challenging, to say the least. But Diag rounds out the final few corners of his race, taking an interesting line through the final corner, and comes home in 15th place. Not too bad from him. And Sadaya then a long way back. Minute and 3 seconds from Diag. And to be fair, Sadaya has caught him about 50 seconds on this lap, but I think Diag was just taking this last lap really easily. He didn't need to push. He could just go on a bit of a Sunday drive around the Nordschleife and not worry too much about the cars around him. So not too bad from some of our drivers. And yeah, this track produces different kinds of racing than you're used to seeing at other tracks like you know, Monza, Silverstone, Road America. It's rather unique, this track, and is why it's so adorably loved by the motorsport community. There's not really any other tracks like this in the modern era. And Sadaya comes around the final corner to finish in 16th place. Just needed to clear my throat there. Number 36 also coming around the final few corners to come home in 17th. Again, I think he would have hoped for a little bit better. I think a lot of these drivers in the bottom half would have hoped for a bit much in this race, and especially Scher, who down 6 places, what could have been for the number 2. He was right up there fighting for the top 10, but just unfortunately got caught out in a few incidents and made too many mistakes. But that's finally all of your drivers over the line, and hopefully we can get started for your final race of this evening, the feature race. And this one should be even more interesting than the first. And be sure to stay tuned, as we're not going anywhere. You got 3 laps, top 10 inverted. This should be a treat to watch. And well, we've got Ben Youssef starting on pole position for this race. We've got Arnon Levi, who rather going to try and make a comeback for this race, in second. Zubrev in third. Last in fourth. Gabay in fifth. Connor in sixth. Stern in seventh. Yaron in eighth. Gross in ninth. And Alon Day, he's going to be the one to watch for this race, in 10th place. Galili in 11th. Sorok in 12th place. Meshalem in 13th, Albert in 14th, Daig in 15th, Sadaya in 16th, Sir in 17th, Sher in 18th, Hased in 19th, Baba in 20th, and Michael Simon rounds out your grid. And I think that this race possibly might be even more chaotic than the first, but who knows? Who knows? Only people with a time machine and possibly Doctor Who. But yeah, I really do think Alan Day is going to be... It's going to be interesting from him. We know how quick he is. He knows how quick he is. He's got the pace. He's got the confidence to do this. He's going to have a little bit more luck on his side than he has the previous 2 rounds. Otherwise, he will leave this round still not leading the championship, which is not what he wants at all. And Michael Simon in last has a lot to play with. He can decide to do whatever he wants from the back of the pack. Pardon me. And yeah, he... This is the thing about starting last in this track. You have a lot of room to play with. You can take it cautiously. You can be a bit more aggressive. You can wait for people in front of you to make a mistake. It really is up to you. But we come round far in the corner to begin this feature race. Ben Youssef, go, go, go. As we head down to the first corner, he's got this start pretty well. He leads into turn 1. Not too many movers at the moment, apart from a few down the order. Alan Day's already up 1 place, so is Stern up into 6th place. Got a few cars going side by side. That's Stern still trying to fend off Canna, as he's not had the best of starts after he was up 8 places from 13th in Heat 1. He's already lost a place, and Alan Day is right behind him, already gaining 2 places, and he has got work to do over these next few laps. And he's not waiting around at all. The number 42 wants to get a move on, and we've got some side-by-side action already between Gabay and Last for 4th place. And Stern wants to get involved in that as well. Last, I think, might have picked up a slowdown somewhere. I think he's gone off the track or he's got some kind of damage, but that promotes everyone up a place. Who was behind him? As Euron also overtakes him. This is Alan Day we're running on board with, trying to overtake Connor. Both of these drivers had really good Heat 1s, but they've got some work to do, as there's some movers for the lead as Levi takes the lead. And Alan Day going around the outside of Connor. That's a good overtake. Ben Youssef is off the track. You can see there. That's going to promote everyone up another place as well. Alan Day's already up to 4th. He overtakes Gabay into there. And that was a pretty textbook first few corners from Alan Day. He's up 6 places. And well, I said he had a lot of work to do, and he's already got half of it done. Only got 3 cars ahead of him now. It's that elusive first place spot. Already a big gap between 2nd and 3rd, around 1.5 seconds, as I think it was Ben Youssef who went off the track, and I don't know if he has damage. Surely he does. I think he's made another mistake. Yes, he has. And he's tumbling down the order. Ben Youssef, who started on pole, has had an absolute horrid start, as this is the replay of the start. Galili spinning around the final corner. I think that was Meshalem who he made contact with. And now just trying to do a 3-point turn to try and get back onto the track. But he's way down the order and is already 1.5 minutes behind the pack, which is not what he wants. And that's Zubrev nearly losing it. He's lost a huge chunk of time. And I cannot believe he kept that on the track. But Alan Day up to third now. He's making staggering progress. He's not waiting around. Michael Simon's had some kind of incident. Sorek as well has had an incident. He's off the track, possibly into a barrier. And I did say that this race would be even more chaotic than the first, and it turns out I was correct. It is already more chaotic as we've got lots of overtaking, lots of incidents, lots of mistakes. And we're only about, well, I'd say a third of the way through this lap. So don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more time to have even more incidents, even more overtaking, and even more chaos in this last feature race in today. But kind of, I was expecting a little bit more from him, if I'm going to be honest. He had a really good first heat, but he's not done anything too much in this race. I think he might be taking it a bit easy. Alan Day moved up into second place, but here is the battle going on for fifth. That's going to be fairly interesting to watch, but here's what happened to Sorek further down. We saw him tumble down the timing screens, but going a bit wide there. Looks like a bit too much speed, and yeah, oh, that's a hard hit into the wall. And I think he's going to hit the wall again. Yep, there and there. And yeah, he hit the wall 3 times there, so I don't think his car is going to be in any position to race. As Zubrev loses even more time into the hands of Connor, Stern and Gabay, who are all chasing down for this third place. That's getting very close for Stern. Possibly even a little bit of contact as we head into the carousel. And there's Zubrev not having the best of times as Gross. I saw in the background a bit of smoke there. Ben Youssef as well has made a mistake. Don't know what happened to Gross there. That was into the carousel. I think I saw him go on the outside there, so maybe a bit too much speed into there. We've seen it happen a few times already. And well, we're going to find out on board with the number 44 as we come into the carousel. Possibly just gives it a bit much. No, just actually the opposite here. Just rode the inside curb a bit too much, and it sent him round. Oh, unfortunate. Don't see that mistake too often, but there you are. As he's all the way down in 13th now after finishing second. I think he's going to be fairly miffed with himself, but still a lot of time in this race, a lot of laps to go. Well, I say a lot of laps. Technically, we only have 2.5 laps to go, but it's the Nordschleife, so technically that's inflated to, I'd say, 10, 15 laps in normal circuit size. But once again, the field spreading out as they usually do, but Alan Day is chasing down for that elusive victory. I don't think Levi's going to fight this one too much. He is going a bit defensive, but backs out of it actually, and promotes Alan Day into the lead. And that's exactly what Alan Day needs in this championship. Is he hopefully is going to take the double today. He is very much deserving of it. He's I think the quickest driver on track by about 2 seconds, which is, you know, just absolutely incredible, and really goes to show how talented he is, and also shows how unlucky he was in the first few rounds. And Gabay as well having a much better time than he did in Heat 1, as he's not going through wide with anyone down this straight this time, so hopefully he'll make it around the other side. Still facing the right way, as in the background we've got Zubrev, who's falling down the pack even more than he was before. And he's fighting back against Urodno. Excuse me, as we go down this straight side by side. Like I said before, it is rather tedious coming down here. You're sort of just anxiously waiting for the end of the straight to come. And it's not easy at all. But Zubrev manages to stay ahead of Uron, which I'm a bit surprised about. Maybe Uron's running a high now for setup. Stern's made a mistake up ahead. Excuse me, just need to clear my throat. And there you are there, Stern. Managed to avoid everyone around the final few corners. I think he might have just gone a bit too deep here. I think he's made another mistake, actually. But all going side by side with, I think this is Kana for third place. As they come into here, do they leave each other enough room? Kana was very aggressive there. and didn't really leave Stern any room at all. And I think Stern might have a few words to say about that, excuse me. I think he might also have some suspension damage as he hit that wall rather hard. And oh dear, yeah, there's the other mistake that I thought we saw, and he's going to tow back to the pits. He's had enough. And actually, because he came past the pits just there, his tow is going to be around 10 or 12 minutes long, so yeah, let's fair to say we won't be seeing him for probably the rest of the race. But Connor, I think, could have left him a lot more room there. It'll be interesting to see what is said about that after the race. But Zubrev still holding on to 5th place rather nicely, actually. And Yaron hasn't managed to put in that much of a fight so far. They are side by side right now, and saying that, Yaron goes around the outside to finally promote himself up into 5th place. Elbert and Mechalem behind have made contact. You saw that just there. So I just had a bit of a coughing fit, excuse me. And Mechalem, your championship leader in AM, and I believe overall, technically, has made a big contact with Elbert, actually. Coming into here, is it going to be an optimistic move? It is. Oh, and just understeers into Elbert. And yeah, they lodge straight into each other. And yeah, you rather have to say that's more Meshalem's fault, really. There wasn't really room there. He kind of put his nose in where it didn't belong. And to add insult to injury, he then understeered into Elbert. So yeah, you'd rather say the blame is put on the 777 there. Rather not a good round here for our championship leader. And we'll see if his championship rivals can gain on him this race. I mean, Alan Day certainly will, taking the double at the moment. Again, possible jinx. I am known to give out the worst jinxes here on Apex, so I got to be a bit careful what I say, because you never know what might happen. Yaron struggling there to actually break away from Zubrev. As yeah, you'd rather say that Yaron seems to be the faster driver, but I just think he's making a bit too many mistakes and is possibly looking in his mirrors just a bit too much. As Stern there goes back to the pits. I think he came out and then went back again. He's not had a good round at all. He started in 7th place, but let's see what happens to the man. The number 11, who we saw have his own incident earlier. Oh, that's a fairly heavy hit, and that's going to bring his day to an end. They're having a rather good Heat 1. The best feature race. But Yaron and Zubrev still going side by side. This is an interesting battle, to say the least. Zubrev racing very, very hard to keep this 5th place after not having the best of starts, but yeah, he's about 10th ahead of Yaron. I think Yaron might be running a slightly higher downforce set. I'm not sure the setup differences in this car, to be honest. I'm not too familiar with the setups in these USF 2000 cars, but nevertheless, I do think Zubrev might be running a bit lower downforce, but to no avail. Is Yaron making the best of it? As we saw on that last lap coming down the back straight, he rather struggled for straight line speed coming down there. And we'll see if he can make up anything in this middle sector. It's going to be difficult to overtake through here, as this is possibly the hardest way to overtake on this entire track. Trying to put Zubrev under a bit of pressure, probably the best way to overtake through here is to not actually overtake, just play a bit of mind games with your opponent and hope that they make some kind of mistake. I think we saw that in Heat 1 with a few drivers coming through this sector making mistakes and going off track. And so far both drivers looking fairly nifty and coming through here. This sector really is the most fun part of the track. It is such a glory to drive in any car. Coming up to YouTube corner, Zubrev got that pretty well, missed the apex slightly, but managed to get a decent exit. And Yaron there, getting a better exit than Zubrev, and Yeah, this is going to be the interesting battle to watch for the rest of the race, because I think you'd rather say Yaron has the speed, but he's making too many mistakes, but Zubrev has the fight and will to get this one done, as he really has fought very, very hard for this 5th place, and rather valiantly, I'd say. It's been really entertaining to watch, and, you know, you love good, hard racing all the time. And I think Connor up ahead's just made a mistake as we look at what happened to Galili further behind the Force Many driver, who had a horrid start. His car looks all over the place, getting on the grass, and into the wall he goes. Is he going to hit the wall on the other side? Yes, he is, and loses his rear wing. And yeah, that's surely bringing his race to an end as he towed back to the pit lane. And yeah, Connor made a mistake. He was up there in 2nd and fell down to 4th place. We're going to have a look at what happened to him coming through the 2nd carousel. This might be the same mistake that Michelin made last race. No, the opposite actually. Just got too like, he was too much on the inside, as that was very close from the cars behind. And once again, just using that inside a little bit too much, and the car just ends up looping on you. And here we go then, round 2 of this battle for 5th place. This is probably the hardest battle we've seen all race, as Day sets a new fastest lap and is bringing out the white flag, as that was a rather ballsy move by Yaron to put himself up into 5th. Good overtake there. Once again, excuse me. My brain is fried after this race. It's been rather entertaining, and it's been a good watch to say for sure. As Gabay now putting pressure on Levi for 2nd place. This is now the closest battle that we have on track. Gabay getting a butt ton of understeer there. Dirty air probably playing a bit of a factor, but these cars don't have too much dirty air, but it definitely is still there. And his slipstream is fairly powerful as well. He's got a chance to get in that slipstream. I don't know if he'll be able to go for an opportunity here. He is close, but I don't know if he's close enough. We're about to find out. He is gaining very quickly. Excuse me. Albert's also in the pits further down the order. He's in 10th. And yeah, he was close enough. Gabay's going to go to the outside of Levi, who's going to be last on the brakes. And actually, the bravest as we go into here. Gabay's going to have some balls on him to go around the outside. He's very close to the grass there. Locks up as well. But, crucially, manages to keep it on the track. And that was some good racing between these two. But I think Gabay was very lucky that the car just about hooked up on the outside, as he got very close to the grass. But hey ho, we're still going side by side with these two for 5th. These two giving each other a brilliant little battle. And it's been such a joy to watch. As Zubrev still holds on to 5th. This guy, the number 30, is absolutely putting in a fantastic performance to keep onto this 5th place. It's such a joy to watch. And as well, further up, these are going to be the 2 battles you want to watch, for 2nd and for 5th. And you just don't know who's going to come out on top. Arnon Levi and Gabay seem to be fairly well matched. But how powerful is that slipstream, and how much quicker is Gabay? We just don't know at all. The last lap, for reference, Levi did make a fair few mistakes. Gabay was 5 seconds quicker on the last lap. Excuse me. And yeah, you just as long as Levi can just keep it together, keep it on the track, I mean track position is crucial around here. More crucial than any other track, I'd say. And I think that battle for 5th has just come to an end, as Yaron has made a mistake and has lost nearly 3 seconds there. And that's rather spoilt the party for 5th, as there was such a lovely battle between these two. And coming into here, I think he might have gotten on the brakes a bit too deep. Oh my word, yeah, nearly ran in to Zubrev as well. That's very lucky. But I think he's picked up a bit of damage, and we'll see if Last or Sadea or anyone else behind can catch up to him. But now this is the only battle we have going on track so far. And Gabay's going to be in the slipstream round here. I think Lars has made a little bit of a mistake, but gets very close to Levi there. Going into this corner, not too much difference, but into here, 39 of Levi is going to have the inside line. It's going to be like it was at the start of this lap, and once again, Gabay gets so close to the outside on that grass, but still manages to keep it on the track just about. And wow, again, hard, fair racing, and you absolutely love to see it. I think Gabay's going to have one more chance on that back straight, unless Levi makes some kind of mistake. But it's going to be difficult to say who's going to win this one out. So that was not a good carousel for Gabay at all. We lost about 0.4 of a second there. He's going to need to put on a bit more pace through this middle sector if he wants to close that gap again. But Lars has definitely made a mistake. He's lost about 3 seconds through that last sector and has allowed Sadaya to catch right back up to him as we head into the carousel once again. And I think it's quite difficult to follow another car through here, as everyone seems to lose time doing it. And like I said before, there's only really after this 1 or 2 overtaking opportunities left. And you're rather running out of time, running out of options. You got to make some kind of impression. You got to force your opponent into a mistake. Well, otherwise it might be curtains for you, but the mistakes that we've seen today, it's not unheard of to say that someone will make a mistake, because I believe everyone apart from Day has made a mistake in this race. And, yeah, it's a tough race, this, and we only have 12 cars left in this race, but yeah, Connor has caught up to these guys. He's pushing after his earlier mistake. He was the man who was originally in second place, and maybe it's not over yet. He's going to have to put in some stonking last few corners if he wants any chance of getting involved in this battle. He's around 1.1 seconds behind Gabay, and into here he's going to have to push a lot harder than the drivers in front of him. He's gained around 0.2 of a second, but it's not going to be enough. He needs to make a real impression through here. And I think that's rather sealed the deal. Just a tiny mistake through there. He caught up initially, but just got on throttle too early and has rather ruined his chances of fighting for second place, as Gabay is going to get the slipstream from Levi in front. And Connor is going to be left out to dry. As you can see, the gap is closing between these two and dropping from Connor. So, unless these two did what Gabay did in Heat 1 and got involved in an incident down this straight, I think Connor's going to have to settle for 4th place. But further up the road, your man, Alan Day, is rather running away with this one, as we're just going to have to cut away from the battle for second for now, as we got to watch this man who's come from 10th, and he is going to win in this feature race. But Gabay's going to go around the outside, and he's up into second place. Good overtake from him, and you can rather see it coming, and he's going to hold on to second place. He's going to come around the final corner to hold on to that second place on the rostrum, as Levi, possibly without that mistake, would have finished second, and Connor, without his mistake as well, he sets a new fastest lap as well. That shows you how hard he was pushing, as he actually went quicker than Alan Day, which you don't get to say very often, but I get to say it now. As everyone else finishes up, Zubrev holds on to that 5th place, as Yaron was catching back up in the end. That mistake really did cost him. Last finishes in 7th place. I actually think that's where he finished in Heat 1. So rather fitting there for the number 55. As we just wait for the final few cars to cross the line. It was a very interesting sequence of events, these few races that we had for you today. And full of action, as always, in this league. It's always unpredictable, as Albert rounds out the top 10. Just waiting for the last 2 cars of Hased and Shur to cross the line. We had only 12 finishes in this race, which just goes to show how difficult this race was for some of the drivers. As I think in the first race we had 17 or 16 cars across the line, and yeah, we have 5 less in this race. So yeah, not easy at all with these cars around this track. As yeah, the curbs on this track, you rather want to use them, but in this car, in most Formula cars, you can't really use them as much as you can in the likes of GT3s, as the car just isn't built for them, and just will not like it if you even think about going near the curbs. But Zed has had rather a lonely race. He's just gained from other people's mistakes, up 8 places into 11th. As he rounds the final few corners with Sher not too far behind. As rounds the final corner to come home in 11th. Not too bad from the 959 in this race. And Sher rounds out your finishers. Only 12 cars in this race. It was not easy at all for some of these drivers. But, well, that's it. That's both feature races. Both races done. Plenty of action, plenty of chaos in both races. And in the end, it was Alan Day who wins both of them. He gets the double. You'd rather say it was deserving from the 42. He wins in today's race at the Nordschleife. Gabay in second place. Onon Levi in third. Kana in fourth. Zubrev in fifth. Yaron in sixth. Last in seventh. Sadaya in eighth. Bubba in ninth. And Elbert in 10th, rounding out your top 10. Hazard in 11th. And Shirt in 12th rounds out your finishers in today's race. Stan in 13th, Yosef in 14th, Galili in 15th, Meshalem in 16th, Gross in 17th, Sorik in 18th place, and then your final 2 drivers, Dieg and Saw, rounding out your grid. And yeah, rather interesting few races we had, and we've actually got one man who is sitting for an interview, and it is Yossi Gabay, who had a pretty interesting few races there. And Yossi, I got to ask, in that Heat 1, how incredibly lucky were you when you had that crash that you just managed to keep it together and come home for 6th?
Yeah, you're talking about the first race, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually I had a lot of damage in the front wing, and I had a pretty tough time to keep it the pace on the, especially on the fast corners. But
Mm.
thanks to the fact that the cars behind me were pretty fast, so I just drove all the way to the finish line. I couldn't fight anything.
Yeah, it seems like damage around this track is rather a death sentence, but P6 was really good with that damage. And then second place with that last lap overtake around the final few corners. Did you think following Levi that you would be able to get it done on that last lap?
I knew I had one or two chances, and
Mm,
I tried on the uphill, but it wasn't very successful, and I didn't want to take any risk on the podium anyway. I was on the
mm.
third place, and Shiran was behind us, closing very fast. So I knew that I've left with only last chance on the main straight, and luckily I had it done. Arnon just back off a little bit, I think, just because of I think because of the accident in the first race. So
Mm.
he backed out a little bit. So thankfully I managed to get second place. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good feature race from you. It was really good to see that last lap overtake. But going into the next race, do you think that you'll be able to keep up this good form going?
Yeah, actually, sure hope so. I know Suzuka pretty well. I didn't had a chance to drive it with this car, but I think I manage it.
Well, let's hope you can keep up this good form. And before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank for today's race?
I just want to thank all the friends and this community. It's great. Just need to keep it up, and you guys, of course.
Thank you. Yes, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and good luck for Suzuka.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
See
you.
you next time. Bye.
Well, that was Yossi Gabe, your second place man in today's race. He put on an absolutely beautiful performance, but unfortunately, we haven't got anyone else who wants to have a chat. But it's been a difficult race for our drivers and me and my throat. It's done a toll, but I got there, and so did our drivers. And Lewis did an absolute fantastic job as always. But that's going to round it out for today. I've been Aaron Smith, joined by Louise Arroyo in the production booth, and we all hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And we'll see you next time at Suzuka. Goodbye.